Oh my God. I'm sorry, you guys. Hello. Hi. Hi, you guys. Anyway, it's 10:31 and it's November 16th, 2024. And I'm sitting by a water fountain that has just turned off and it's not, and I'm looking at how the water is so still. I love to see like still water. It's really beautiful. But anyway, honey, I was, I'm sorry. Look, hold on, pause. Sorry guys, moving past what's happened or whatever. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna move forward or whatever. um I don't know exactly what people know and what they don't know, but I know that a lot of people have been lied to, and they were lied to cover up some shit. Whatever it was that they were trying to cover up, I didn't know anything about. Okay, I've been walking my own journey, doing my own thing, and just kind of like trying to get back on my feet for a long time. All right. And I'm talking about since like what, basically 2019. Okay. So I've been minding my business, and a lot of stuff that has happened has pretty much kind of like bamboozled me. It came up out of nowhere, you know, like really. And I personally, I can't, and I don't feel anything about it, to really be honest. I feel like, it was bound to happen sooner or later because so many people do so many fucked up things to me, and I just let shit slide. And so when people do those things, they feel like, okay, shit, well, we could just do whatever. And it's like, no, that's not okay. But if I see that somebody's doing something or whatever, I'll say something. But for the most part, I don't really be tripping off that type of shit. I don't trip off of what other people do. When I say that, that's what I mean. Like, I don't worry about what other people do. But when it affects me, my babies, my life, our lives, our finances, livelihood, the whole nine, I think that's pretty much cause for concern when it comes to anybody, no matter who they are. So ultimately, what I think the point is that, there are a group of people who probably really think I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Like on a social level, on a character level, like they probably like my character. Um, but there are people within that same realm or circle that, they degrade me. They think very lowly of me. And they also feel that, we're just going to say what it is, that they're better than me, right? And they feel that what my situation is not just a sad situation, but it's a situation that, you know, it's entertainment. They find very entertaining. They find it entertaining to see me going through the things that I'm going through. Kind of like on Hunger Games. You remember Hunger Games? I think they made a new one. I didn't get a chance to see the new one. But I did keep up with the first couple, and it's kind of like that. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about it. And to be honest, that's kind of natural if you think about it, because there's no way that anybody would really be able to relate to what I'm going through if they've never been through it. So the only other way that they would be able to learn about this process, what it looks like, what it may feel like, or whatever, is if they came across someone like me, who is expressive and, and shares their feelings and, how they're coping with things, how they grow through things, and, how they break down their experiences, and I think that is probably, knowing that fact is the only reason why you don't see me, building any type of animosity toward people who see my situation as entertaining. But then you have the other side of it. And the other side of it is illegal surveillance, and borderline exploitation, if not exploitation. And so there has to be some type of a balance there. Nobody asked me for my permission. Nobody asked me shit. Nobody even asked me if I was okay while they were sending all these people out to monitor me, to figure out little bits and pieces of, what my experience is like. And then there was also, it's become very, very clear to me actually at this point too, that everybody has known about what has transpired, but nobody bothered to inform me or to say anything, which makes me think that everyone was connected and was possibly involved in everything. So that's what I'm trying to say. I was like, somebody needs to say something. And to be honest, I don't think anybody really takes that seriously. The requirement to be honest and open with me, even in a private setting, nobody takes it seriously. And how do I know? Because of the responses and things like that. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to move forward with this, because I'm not going to allow myself to be drained with this bullshit. But I'm also going to have to figure out how I can regain some of my human rights, and also some of my privacy, and also back people up off of me and my family. So I'm going to tell you the first step that I'm going to take is I am going to separate myself from the idea of anyone ever trying to make right what they have done wrong. And that is called releasing it and giving it to God. Okay? That, in all transparency, because of all that has happened, that is going to be a very hurtful process for me, because I have watched so much happen that's very similar to this, that destroyed people that I loved, and in turn destroyed several aspects of my own life. And I was able to rebuild those things on my own during my adult years before I met someone who eventually contributed to a very similar movement and ended up basically tearing everything down, So, and I'm spending years and years trying to rebuild, while people are finding my struggles entertaining and not necessarily, don't feel any need to provide any support or help, right? So I'm not a character in a show, and I'm not meant to be your entertainment. I'm a human being, and I have a family that I love very much. I am not an actor. I'm definitely not a paid actor, nor have I ever been. And I'm going to need, except for one time when I went on to a television show and they did pay me for that, and I still have my paycheck stubs for that. So anyway, I feel like people need to stop underestimating good people. And this situation here, it doesn't matter how much ground you've covered in order to cover your own ass. What's wrong is wrong, and whatever you've done clearly is wrong to me, because the result of it is that it has torn my family apart, and it has affected my livelihood. And I think that was pretty much the intention to begin with. And I think that people think it's funny. I think people think it's hilarious that I'm going through what I'm going through. And I don't know, that is going to be, that's between you guys and whoever you serve. You know what I'm saying? But I know for a fact that I've known people who have gone through what I'm going through right now. And I never, ever laughed at their situation. If anything, I felt like, damn, I wish I was in a better situation so I could help to pull them out of that, you know? But I never thought to laugh at somebody who was going through something that I'm going through. That's why it's not easy for me to go through what I'm going through right now. However, it's tolerable because of what I've seen. I've seen strong people push through shit like this. You know, so if I didn't have that example, you know, I'm pretty sure I would find my own way, which I'm currently doing anyway, but I would find my own way to, you know, kind of work through this and grow through it and learn from whatever it is and, you know, try to overcome in many aspects. But I would never downplay what somebody's going through. And I wouldn't want to contribute to someone going through something like this either. And I definitely wouldn't gloat about it. I definitely wouldn't gloat about it, especially when it has to do with people's children, you know, when it has to do with abuse on different levels, you know. It's just like, wow, you know. When it has to do with people's lives, when people are being targeted and you know, they're paid hits on their life and, you know what I'm saying, and people like scoping them out and all kinds of shit. Like I wouldn't, ooh, honey, to be a part of that. It's almost like you need to have a conglomerate to protect you and to kind of look out for you, because if you engage in so many fucked up acts like that, then eventually something comes back. You're going to need somebody to block that shit when it comes in. You feel me? Like, if I look at it from that perspective, which I do try to put myself in other people's shoes often so that I can kind of, you know, kind of see what is and what isn't and what could, you know, what could be. I could see where that could be a thing, you know. And like I said, sometimes you do need a team, you know, and I respect that. I respect the foundation of why we decided that we needed to come together and protect our own and protect our, and when I say our own, I mean our own, not just as far as race, but our communities, which is what I probably should have said in the beginning, but I'm working through it, y'all. So, you know, so every community needs to have their own form of protection, in addition to, you know, the form of protection that we already have established. You know, we need to have that. You know, our own form of communication, our own way of basically loving on one another and sustaining and preserving. I get it. I understand. You know, but when it gets to a point where you're doing something that's just blatantly wrong, somebody has to step up and say, nah, let's pull that back now, because that's not what we're about. Okay, you doing this, this, and this, that's not what we're about, you know? But then again, when I think about it, what if that is what you're about? All of this that I've gone through, maybe that's what you all are about, and that's why you're laughing and you think it's funny. Because to you, it's not something that you should feel bad about. To you, it's something that you should feel proud of, because that's what you set out to do to begin with. And that's not a set of emotions that I can really relate to. I'm not made like that. So, like I said, I'm going to kind of circle back around and say what I need to say. So, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and separate myself from the idea of people making right what they've done wrong, because that would fall into the category of expectations. And expectations is not something that I really do anymore when it comes to other people. And it has worked for me very well, you know, and I love that. And as I grow as a woman and just as an individual in general, I just feel like that's the best thing for me, is to, and the healthiest thing for me is to allow people to meet their karma wherever they are, and not necessarily worry about what it is that, you know, they've done to, you know, kind of fuck up my path. maybe they needed to do that. Maybe, they maybe they had a place in my story after all. There was someone who once asked me if they could have a page in my book, and I thought that was the sweetest thing ever. And, and I said to myself, I said, some people, when they can't be, the friend, the confidant, the lover, the hero, in your story, they deliberately choose the role of the villain in your story because they are destined to be a part of your story. And so I don't know why that would be, but that's what I found over the years. People are like that, and I never understood why. If somebody doesn't want you in their life, get the fuck on. You feel me? Not like that, but like that. You know what I'm saying? Like if people don't want to, like they don't want you in their life, then don't be around. Don't be in their life. Don't force your way into their story. And I feel like a lot of people have forced their way into my story just so that they can have a place in that story. And I guess by ruining things, that gives them a sense of accomplishment within their role. Okay, so I see that and I'm like, okay, I understand more about that now. I didn't understand that before because I can't relate to it. Once again, my main objective is to understand. It really is, so I'm always like studying things, people, actions, behaviors, and stuff like that because I seek to understand people, when I am around them, So anyway, I think I've said enough in what I want to say, and I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm kind of over it. I said that before. Somebody decided that they wanted to call a shot, and they called their shot and did what they needed to do. I hope that it doesn't backfire. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And in the meantime, in between time, I'm going to go ahead and figure out how I can, move past this, all these barriers that people have put on my path because they want to see me poor and homeless and broke and broken, which unfortunately, I can't let y'all have that one, but I've gone through a lot because of you. And I guess I can give you your congratulations, give you your flowers, but I'm not necessarily sure if that's what's supposed to happen. It's just kind of like, I just feel bad for people who have that kind of energy. I would rather be in my situation and have a pure heart and feel good more often than not and actually have balance and peace for real. Than to be somewhere plotting on somebody's life or plotting on their family or plotting on their finances. Like there are other ways that you can, go to battle with somebody than doing stuff like that. It seems a bit unfair, but that is life. Life can be very unfair. For me, I told this man that I met on the train. He was running after the train, and we had a conversation. And I told him, I said, I get really tired of some of the shit that happens. You feel what I'm saying? I get really tired of it. And when I'm out in the world and I'm living and moving around here, I prefer that people, be them, but show up as your best self. Give me the energy that I give you. And we had a really good conversation. He was a really nice person, and I appreciated his company. And I also appreciated having the conversation that we had because it actually helped me a bit to know that, there were other people out there that understood that there's a whole other side of things, that we as human beings, we really just have to deal with, because it's just the earthly dark forces that we have to, ward off on a day to day, So we had that conversation, but I just felt, when he got off of the train, I felt like I had tried to do the best that I could do to not say anything, and I didn't. But at the same time, it's just like, when everybody already knows, because people have literally, hacked your phones and shit, and got your stuff on lives and stuff like that, and discussing your personal business in chat rooms that you're not in, and and then people are trying to like drop your location because they know that there are people after you, and they use that as retaliation, and people are idiotic and ignorant and indignant in public, and it just fuels so much toxicity. And for someone like me who's not used to that, that's what you guys are seeing me respond to, and I'm just kind of tripping, because I'm like, I wish that people would have just left me alone so that I could do what I needed to do. I was already on the right track. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I already had my plan in place and every step I needed to take so that I could do my thing, and really achieve the goals that I had set for myself and my family. And, right now at this point, I really am just kind of expressing myself. This is nothing I do is scripted, but you get what I mean. Like, I'm just kind of like off the top of my head right now, And so, I don't know. It just makes me think. Everything that has happened, it makes me think. And I'm glad that it's happened, but at the same time, it's a burden on me. And I know that it was intentional. People did this intentionally, and they did it with no remorse. And it doesn't really matter if they ever feel apologetic about it. It's not going to really matter because of the effects of it. There's just a lot going on. So anyway, in addition to that, though, I ain't gonna lie to you guys. It even amazes me that I'm able to manage having good days. No bullshit. Like, I'm like, wow, I actually have, but it's me. The energy is coming from me, and sometimes I feel really, really alone in that, because people are so two-faced and so fake and so motherfucking just trifling.